right. Looks like I'm streaming live on Rumble right now. Hey, guys.
Good.
Yay. And I'm echoing pro streamer moment. Woo. Hey, Six Nations 31 Kings. How you doing, sir? All right. My name is Bruce. These are my hands. They're my only hands. And we are discussing a fantastic film from 1987. Janet, was Overboard your pick?
Yes, it was a comedy, a romantic comedy. Because I don't like too many romantic, girly movies. But this one really isn't really girly, I don't think.
No, it really isn't. This movie's got a lot of good stuff to it. I found that as I kept watching this movie, I was really getting into it and just enjoying Kurt Russell's character far too much.
Because he's so manly.
Yeah, he's a manly dude. Like, this is a Tuesday, and it's just he kind of gets bent over by this lady, and then she kicks him off the boat after she racks up a $600 bill and demands that he redo everything at no extra cost.
Yeah.
After 2 days of work, and it's kind of like I could see where anybody would be reasonably pissed. She literally puts him in the drink, and so he's
she pushed him overboard, and then she threw all his tools, which we know are very, very expensive, especially carpentry tools.
Yep.
And she threw them in the water too, so he was out. The money that he spent to make the closet for her out of oak and all his tools. Now he had no way of making a living.
Oh,
so
she did him pretty good.
Really screwed.
She did him over really good. That's almost like a complete ex-wife visit.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Six Nations, how you doing, sir? Lady, sir, how you doing tonight? Yeah, this movie hit me pretty hard because there's a lot of it that I'd never seen before. I was not expecting to see this and enjoy it nearly as much as I did. But damn, as the movie kept going on, I found myself like, wow, this would have been one of my favorite movies growing up. And my mom might have thought it was like the Caddyshack version of a rom-com, but it was really good. I don't know. I stutter over the fact that, like, there's sometimes you see a movie and you're thinking, like, why didn't I see this? What was so important that I skipped this movie?
I don't know. I don't remember why I saw it, but I just remember I seeing it. That's all I remember. I don't remember where I was or anything like that. I just remember watching it. So I don't know if I watched it at home or if I watched it at the movie theater. All I know is I watched it and I really thought it was really good. And then I ended up buying it on DVD. So I liked it a lot because I thought it had a really good message.
It does have a good message. That's the weird thing, because usually a film with a message, I get out of that. I scrape it off my foot. I'm like, oh, look at me. I stepped in dog shit. Somebody gave me a message. Let me get this out of here. But no, this movie had a good message to it. It was really fun. Like, remember when movies were fun, kids? Hey, remember when you used to go to the movies and you'd see a comedy and you'd laugh? Remember that? This is one of those movies.
What I really liked was it gave you a short but to the point version of both characters before they meet each other and then have their encounter where one gets thrown overboard. Okay. And that's why it was the name of the movie, I'm pretty sure. But the fact that you get to see his kids, which he has 4 boys, and his house is a shambles. The yard is a dump. Basically, you could tell he doesn't do anything. He doesn't look like he cleans. He doesn't look like he takes care of his yard. He lets his kids just run wild like animals, basically. And you don't really know why. You don't understand why he does it. You just think he's a slovenly, non-family committed dad. He wants to be their best friend and not their father, basically. See, so that's what you see. And you see that because you see a teacher or the principal of the school, a teacher too, though, leaving the house as the father pulls up in his beat up old truck, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, you don't have to tell me about how bad off the kids are and all this kind of stuff. Because he's taking it like a joke. And basically you could tell that he doesn't really have much experience with hands-on with his boys besides playing with them, Yeah. So we don't know where the mother is. We don't know any of that stuff yet. All we know is that he's a terrible dad. I mean, he's a good dad, but he's not good at discipline or the important parts of being a dad, right? Then you goes over to the yacht where Joanna Staten is walking around all snooty and stuck up, wearing, with her hands out and being, all dolled up in her really expensive clothes, and she's on the boat and she's bossing everyone around and, to her husband. And she's just a bitch basically to everybody, right? Stuck up, snotty bitch. She is the epitome of that character. So you get to see both of them before they interact when she wants to hire him to redo her part of her closet where she wants to put her shoes and stuff in there where she can get to them because they're just all laid out, which is funny too. When you think about it, about a person who has everything, she has more than anything, basically. She's in a yacht, which is a boat that you don't live in. You just travel small distances on a trip or whatever on, right? But she's got like 25 pairs of shoes. It's like overindulgent to the maximum. So we get to see a really good thing to teach you that you don't want to be around this lady. She's a real bitch. Go ahead.
I hate saying it, but like this movie shows you how you want to live and how you want to pick them. But like at the same time, what Kurt Russell does to her later, it does bite him in the ass, and it suitably does. He almost, surprise, the movie has a happy ending, but like he almost completely loses this. And it's good that he doesn't, because this movie is just so freaking wholesome and so nice. It's one of the best rom-coms I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And that's funny for me to ever have to say that. I never thought I'd say, it's one of the funniest rom-coms I've ever seen. Oh my God. No, this is a fucking great rom-com. The reason why is the starring leads. You have Kurt Russell, Snake Plissken is the male, the contractor.
Dr. Death.
And then Private Benjamin is the female lead. Which, if you didn't realize, Private Benjamin was made when Goldie Hawn was like, 34, 35? Mm-hmm. When she made that. And she didn't look 34, she's 35. She's always had a very youthful appearance to her. She's in her 70s now. She's going to be 80 here in a couple years.
Yes, she's 77.
And she doesn't look a day over 60. She's
and Kurt Russell's 72. So he's younger than her.
He's younger than her, but he looks older than her in the Fast and the Furious movie that he was in. And God damn it, I wish he had not been in that movie.
But the thing is, too, we have to remember at the very beginning, right? She's hardly wearing any clothes. Okay, she's wearing this teeny tiny bathing suit that goes up the crack of her woo-ha and up the crack of her ass, and this has a little strap that goes across. It doesn't even go around. There's no tie. It's because it's one of those clamps. Okay, I don't know if there's bathing suits. Women, I'm sure if you've gone to any high-end like boutiques or whatever, they have these really cool things. They got bathing suit tops that you put on and it just clamps on. There's no ties or anything. It grabs a hold and it kind of suction cups on there. And the same thing for the bottom half if you want to just barely cover anything. It's like a snatch cover or whatever you want to call it, right? But that's what she's wearing when she's got that zebra stripe looking or tiger stripes, right? And she's walking through, and that's when he sees the little birthmark on her ass because she's bending over and acting all, stuck up. But you got to remember, Wyatt, her son, their son together is just learning to walk. And that's how good she looks. So just think about it. And this isn't her first kid either. She's already had, I think, 2 other kids. Her daughter, I think she has 1 other kid. I can't remember. I know she has a daughter.
45 in this movie.
She was 45?
44, 45, somewhere around
there. She
there.
looked damn good. I mean, you could tell she works out. She takes care of herself. She eats right. And I look at her face. I've been looking at her now at 77. And it doesn't look to me, if she's had any work at all done, she's had maybe some injections in her lips to plump them up a little, like to, make them look juicier. But it doesn't look like she's had her, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
It doesn't look like she's had cheek implants and all the other shit that other women like Madonna. Madonna looks like Catwoman.
Wow. We both targeted Madonna.
But she looks, she's beautiful and natural looking, and she's aging gracefully because she's doing it on her own. She's letting herself just be herself, and she does still dye her hair blonde, but why not? If her husband likes it, and they're in love, and he's happy with what he looks like, and she's happy with what he looks like, or whatever, and they just seem very happy. And you could tell that they had good chemistry together too. I think it came across in the movie itself. But her bending over and doing all that, and you could see him like, who wouldn't stare? I mean, Jesus, that's why you wear shit like that. Okay. When I show cleavage or whatever, you want people to look at it. Sometimes they stare, but cleavage is like no big deal anymore. But what she was wearing back in 1987 was like, what the, most guys would just go, what the hell, if they saw a woman walking around like that. Right. But, that whole setup was really good. And then he goes in and he does the closet, and she's out there talking about him while Roddy McDowell's painting her fingernails, and waiting on her, because that's basically her butler, and he waits on her hand and foot. And she talks down to him, and she's rude to him. She's rude basically to everybody on the yacht, even her husband. She treats her husband like dirt. So when she got that night, which was funny, do you remember what they were watching on TV?
Lifestyles of the rich and famous on the next.
I thought that was great.
We're just watching the top 10 yachts that are out floating in the world's oceans today.
Yeah, wasn't that awesome? A good touch to the movie. It did little details like that. The director did a really good job at picking little things out like that, like the stack of movies that's next to Mr. Statham when he's drinking, and he's got that big shell on his legs, and he's like, oh, tofuti, like that when he's saying that. Did you see the stack of movies sitting there? The DVDs?
Yep.
Did you read the list of what was on them?
Porn.
Yeah, it was all porn.
Porn.
The pink clam was one of the names of the movies. I thought that was funny. But there's a lot of little things like that. And you could tell that when the boat moved and stuff, that nothing moved on the tables and stuff, because on a real yacht, everything's got like stickers or whatever to hold everything down, because things move around, except when her mother came to stay on the boat with them, and her and her dog, and how when the boat was rocking back and forth, the mom rolled out of the bed, stuff like that, or slid out because the boat was moving really, a lot, which it doesn't normally do, because they usually have stabilizers on there. But I thought it was just funny. I thought the whole setup between the husband and wife was really good. So after she tells him that she hates what he did, the job he did sucked, and in a way, though, I kind of agreed with her. I kind of feel bad about that, but I couldn't help it. Who does make a closet with oak? Nobody. Everyone makes it with cedar. So I agreed with her. But now I think she still thinks she at least should have paid him half of what he did, because he should have known. And, that to me is an assumption that most people would say, you make your closets out of cedar, but he didn't. He made it with oak. So that's what started the whole argument in the first place. So that night when they're laying in bed and they're watching the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, the yachts or whatever, And she's like, go get my ring. I left my wedding ring out there. Because remember, she didn't want to put her jewelry on because she was painting her nails and she didn't want to, they were tacky still. So she didn't want to put nail polish or her ring on her nail polish. So she says she'll go get it. And then she's so stuck up that she has to stand right in front of the TV to put on her robe, right? And she's moving around to make sure she's in front of him so he can't see the TV. So, she was just a total bitch, which was great because she did a really good job at being the bitch, right? So she goes out on the deck, which was funny because the part of the deck that she went out on, and she's wearing heels with a little fur on the top and her little silky robe. She's all, scantily dressed because, she's freaking hot. I mean, she's very attractive. And she's out there stumbling around, right? And she gets up on the seat and she sees her ring down there. She tries to get it and she's holding on to the little flag. It's on the front of the boat and the boat's moving around and she's rolling around. And then she ends up falling overboard. Okay, so she fell overboard, after she pushed him overboard. So basically she got what she deserved because she fell overboard too. But you don't know what's going to happen during this because it's late at night, and all that stuff. And it isn't until the next day that we realize that she's been picked up by a garbage gal. Saw her floating out there in the water, bobbing up and down. And I can't remember the actor's name. I'm so bad about that. The one who was interviewed by the reporter from that little town, Oak Grove. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Elk Cove.
Elk Grove, yeah, or so.
I think it's Wilbur Budd. Is it Frank Buxton that plays Wilbur Budd? No, that's no, not him.
I got the list of all the people in the movie.
The guy that the guy that helms the garbage scow is in every Gary Marshall film. Yeah,
they're like really close friends.
Really close friends. Or if he's dead, but amazing. It just all the little things that Gary did to pull his friends and family.
I didn't print that one's name out. Sorry, I didn't print his name out.
It's all right, but like. You have this movie with it, which is kind of set up, and it's casted by people that are already involved with it. And there is a casting agent. They're like, no, get this guy because I've worked with him a lot. And then Kurt Russell's like, hey, my dad wants to play a sheriff in this movie, so they got Bing Russell to play.
Yeah, that's another thing I saw in there. Mm-hmm.
That was great. And I just love how this film.
So the sheriff, he's not the one that was in the hospital, though. The cop in the hospital.
I think he might have been one in the hospital because he's even listed Elk Cove Sheriff Earl.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember because he looked really young. The guy that I remember that was like, yeah, she's a cutie. That one that was in the hallway.
About the cop Ray Combs.
Oh, that's a different guy. Okay.
Yep.
That's what I said. I don't think it's him.
No, I think the sheriff was there with a psychiatrist and the cop, and then the sheriff took
off.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. I remember. But that whole thing at the hospital was really good, too, because that's when you start to see her character shift. Okay. Because they got her plastered all over the news because this is a huge thing because this is a little teeny tiny town in Oregon, right? Yep. And they're all like just normal people, that get up, go to work, had normal jobs. They're not rich or anything like that. They hunt and, all that stuff. And it's a really cool thing that they found this woman that was only wearing a sexy pair of underwear. That was the only thing she had on when they pulled her out of the water. So apparently she got washed all around that she lost her.
Janet. Listen, when you come to stay in San Antonio, my wife wants to know if you actually initial all your undies.
No.
Like what woman in her 40s puts her fucking initials in her undies? That's the only thing I'm going to knock this movie on.
Hey, you do that. Hey, I have met some rich people, and even the guys have their embroidered underwears label, on the band of their underwear. Yeah. I don't know. It's not really that you're afraid you're going to lose them. It's the fact that you're that rich that you can put your name on your undies. I don't know, on your bra or whatever. I don't know. I think it's stupid. I wouldn't do it. But see, you and I are poor. If we ever won the lottery, that's not anything that we're thinking about is like labeling our underwear, right? We're gonna go out and we're gonna have a lobster. We're gonna go out and buy a nice car. We're gonna do that kind of stuff. We're not worried about our underwear. But when you grow up rich, because remember, you get to see a small snippet a few times of her mom. So now you know why she's the way she is, because she had a mother that made her be that way, wouldn't let her wait on anyone, or anything. She was just catered to her whole life. That's all she knew. So this was a huge character building thing for her, but it was a character building thing for Dean Prophet too, because we find out during this time that the four boys, their mother died. Okay, it was like 4 years earlier or something like that. So they've been without a mom for 4 years, and they've had a dad that, everything that they eat is like out of a can. They don't have a bedtime. He doesn't make them do their homework. I mean, the youngest one can't even read. There's just so many things. It's bad because we don't know whether he went through a depression. We don't really know anything about it. All we know is at the time he is today, when he decides, he sees her when he crawls through that hole in the bar, right at the bowling alley, and he looks up at the TV and there's her picture on there. Okay. And they're saying a woman with amnesia, okay, was found in the harbor or whatever, and we're trying to find out who she belongs to. So he talks to his best friend. Oh, and that's another thing. Did you see that trivia about his best friend that offered the part to John Candy?
Yeah, John Candy was busy at the time. I think Planes, Trains, Automobiles, was it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that would have been really cool, I think, to have him. But I still like the guy
the guy they got. John Candy would have probably fouled it up.
He probably would have overacted over him. You know what I mean? Made it harder for him.
I don't need somebody to overact over Kurt Russell.
But I thought their relationship, the best friend relationship, was really, really good. They played well with each other. I mean, they just seemed like real friends, like they were friends for a long time. The way that they ribbed each other, and I don't know, just the way that they hung out. It just seemed like he was so laid back, but he was the one that was more level. You go to his house and you could see that it was just a mess, and the kids were just a mess. But the kids enjoyed it when he finally gets to bring the mom home. But the whole thing to me was just adorable. The kids were I just wanted to pick them up and give them all a big old hug because they were just so cute. I mean, they're adorable. I know they're grown now, but in the movie, they were
chat to know that whenever Janet sees a child that is at least being honest or trying to not be cute, but they're being cute, Janet's motherly instincts, her ovaries explode, and she loses her sense of direction. She wanders to the child, and she grabs them and hugs them. We're going to be worried about it in this October because we're going to all meet up at the San Antonio Star Convention or whatever. We're going to meet Peter Weller. We're going to meet Gina Carano. But we're going to have to keep Janet on a carried chair. We're going to have like 4 dudes, like those Africans carrying the casket, but we're going to carry this chair on our shoulders. And Janet's going to have to sit there because if not, she's going to see all these kids that are dolled up at the convention, and she's going to be running over there grabbing all the kids and hugging them, and we're going to get shot.
Nah, you won't. Hey, I've been to lots of cons. I love kids, and I get my pictures taken with them and stuff. But most of them don't even know, because I usually if it's one of those type of cons, I dress in Star Trek, so a lot of the kids aren't amused with that, because they want some of the other stuff that's more up to date, like a Wookiee or something like that.
Yeah,
a Star Troop or a trooper or whatever,
whatever,
all that stuff. They're not into a person that's wear the bouffant hair or whatever else, a Star Trek person. Now, when I was blue this last time, with the white hair, the antenna and stuff, everybody was like, "What? Wow, look at her costume." A lot of them didn't know what I was. I had to tell them I'm an Andorian. I was like, "Oh yeah, okay," because a lot of them don't know the old school. But it's okay. I don't care. I still enjoy it.
Fine. You can dress up like an Orion girl next time. That's cool.
Yeah, but I don't have the slave girl outfit. I'd have to get one. But the thing is,
what a shame,
is that when he saw her on TV, he got the bright idea. I'm going to get that bitch, make her come to my house and wait on me hand and foot and earn her my money back. because she ripped him off. What was it, $600, and then his tools, right?
Those
So,
tools were worth more than $600. But
well, I know
$600
that's
from
what he
then to
said.
now is probably like 10,000 or
Yeah, it was
8,000
really expensive, but it was only that one little area. Because remember, he put a crank in there, and it made it open up like this and back up, and then the other row of shoes came to the front. I thought it was ingenious. I thought it was a great idea, but the whole thing is, he thought $25 a day. He started adding it all up because he was pissed, and we all laughed. All of us watching the movie laughed because she deserved it. She was a bitch, even though she didn't know who she was, and the fact that before he goes, so yeah, he was a bad boy for doing that, right? Okay, but before he shows up, her husband goes there to get her because you know, he knows it's his wife and she fell overboard, and he sees her on the news. So they go to get her. But when he goes up to the door and she's bitching and complaining about everything in the room, you know, and the lady snores that's in there with her, and he's got a semi-private room, you know, she's
he's
bitching
got
and moaning.
Glasses on. He's got his Joe Biden aviators on, and he's like, nope, never seen her a day in my life.
That's right. And he abandons her. So he takes off and he's partying. Boy, he's got all these hot babes on the yacht, and he's just partying and he's loving it. So he's living high on the hog, even though his mother-in-law is calling, you know, every couple of days going, where's my daughter? I want to talk to Joanna.
Played by Catherine Hellman.
Yeah, it's so it was so good. You know, she played a good uppity, stuck-up bitch too, but a little more mature. You know, a little more elegant about it because she was more mature and stuff. And then when she was talking to her mom on the phone, that one line I really liked, but she's like, that she said, what was his name? Grant? Yeah. Grant is talking to me about getting pregnant again. And she goes, well, baby, if you have a baby, you won't be the baby anymore. She's like, I know, you know, she was like, it was just funny. The whole relationship between her mother and herself, stuck up bitches, you know, two of them talking to each other. But I thought it was great. I thought that Goldie Hawn did a really, really good job at a believable stuck up snob, basically.
Yeah, this movie is so good.
And when Dean leaves and he tells his boys to go to Salvation Army or whatever with his best friend, and he's gonna take them, and he said get some dresses and stuff. So he'd have clothes hanging up in the house that belonged to the new mom, you know. So when she showed up, so when he brings her home, and all of them are sitting in the living room waiting for her, and he's like, "What do you guys? Why is it taking her so long to try on these clothes?" Because she didn't have anything to wear. Remember, the only thing that they had was a sexy pair of underwear. That was it. And when he pulls it out of the evidence bag, remember, he puts it in the glove compartment because he doesn't want the underwear in there with the pictures and stuff. And he gives the pictures to his friend and asks him to make some Photoshop some pictures, which was terrible. I mean, it was this horriblest job of fake photos, and she's like all sourpuss in every picture, like, you know, really really depressing stuff. I just thought it was adorable. The whole thing, the story behind it was just cute, and I didn't know that it was supposedly was like made from other stories or whatever. So, you know, I didn't know it was.
There was another movie that came out years before this in the 50s, I think. It was the original blueprint for this, but then Overboard came out, and Overboard was so popular that they made 6 or 7 different remakes of it because people know Kurt Russell. People do not remember Cary Grant and Sophia Loren. Although, men, you should remember Sophia Loren, but you don't.
I got to say hello to Snorterpoopus. Yay. Yeah. Sorry, I was typing that in. But okay, so after he gets her there and he's trying on the clothes, she comes out and she goes, "This rag cannot possibly be mine," because she still talks like the stuck-up snob, right? So she still has a stuck-up attitude, but she's looking around not understanding. And he's like, because he introduces her to her 4 children, you know, that she's got that she doesn't remember having, and you know,
I don't have any stars. Never came out of her mouth.
Yeah, and he takes her into towards the bedroom, and he's like, this is where the magic happens, all this kind of stuff. It was just adorable. And I love the way that they worked around the whole thing about, your thought thinking that he's going to have sex with this woman that isn't really his wife. And she's got amnesia. So he's going to take advantage of her, but they don't, they don't. And that never goes there. He kind of scares her into not wanting to perform, so he doesn't have to worry about it, because she ends up telling her she has a bad back and she has to sleep on the couch, and that she used to be in the Navy and she has an old Navy injury and all this bullshit.
You used to be skinny, then you got fat, you got skinny again.
Yeah, he just filled her full of shit. He was lying to her out the wazoo. But the thing is, he never had to worry about sleeping with her. You know what I mean? He never had to worry about coming on to her or anything like that. And the first night when she sleeps on the couch, it rains, okay? And she's laying there, and you hear, she starts dreaming, and you hear, water dripping like that, and then it's like music playing, and next thing you know, you see her in her dream, and she's all dolled up in this beautiful ball gown, like evening attire. It's ritzy, and she's with other ritzy people, and the music's playing, and it sounds like the piano with the raindrops or whatever, and it becomes overwhelming because she's got like confetti and shit falling from the ceiling, and it's falling on her fake eyelashes. She can't open her eyes, and she's blinking. It's because she's getting rained on, basically. So the next morning when he gets up and goes in there, she's got the dogs laying on her stuff, and she's got 2 pans of water laying on her chest. So she is slowly having to live in an environment that in her whole life she was never in. She was never, ever in her whole life, because she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She never had to deal with animals climbing on her, or holes in the roof, or raggedy clothes. And that was one of the comments that she made was, never mind that this is a rag that's 10 times too big, all that. But it was just really funny. The whole way they went about all of that. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I find myself really appreciating this movie for as triggering as this film is. I remember this to be one of the best comedies I've seen with a rom-com slant to it ever in my life. I have discovered a new movie that I can love, and this is it, because this is a film. I didn't really stop laughing. We watched it last night, and after I got done, I got out of there. I was laying in bed, and my wife is sitting next to me, or laying next to me, and I start laughing about the damn movie, and I wake her up. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm sorry, babe. What's wrong? What's going on? Oh no, we watched this movie. What movie did you watch? Overboard. I've never seen it, so I gave her the link, and she was laughing until she fell asleep about 2:00.
Yeah, it's really cute. It's a really good movie. Because the thing is, during the time that she's there, she's learning how to cook. Okay, because you got to remember, this is a woman who's never cooked in her whole life. She's never had to, because she's always had servants and a butler, a personal butler that does everything for her. And so you see her over this gas stove, okay, and she's got a pot with water in it and a chicken with the feet still on it, right? And she's trying to figure out how to fit it down in this pot of water to cook it. And they're all sitting at the table waiting. And you know how long it takes to cook chicken?
Oh God.
So that was funny in that part of it. And they're putting spoons on their nose. He's just being a big kid, basically hanging out with his kids at the table. And they're like, she's like, well, nothing's happening. And he goes, well, you have to light the burner, hon. And they're all laughing at her and stuff. And then when she finally sticks the match in there and it bursts, flames, and she screams because she burns her finger. So he runs to get some first aid cream, and the older boys grab fire extinguishers, and they come over and they blast her with it, right? And she's just covered with all this foam. So she's overwhelmed. She's got 4 kids, a messy kitchen. She's trying to cook. He's trying to learn all this stuff. So, and the next morning, he's like, trying to wake her up on the couch. And he's like, well, if you don't get up, the boys need to go to school. or whatever. And she goes, I don't care if they go to school. And she rolls back over and covers up. And he goes, okay, well, they'll just be home with you all day. And she went, and she woke up, she realized, I don't want to take care of these kids. So she runs in the kitchen. She's got mayonnaise out and peanut butter and jelly. And she's got like M&Ms, and she's just cramming it all on a piece of bread, and putting it in a bag. And she's like, twin, she's got, because she doesn't know the kids' names or anything because they're not her kids. So the whole scenario was just adorable. And he just stand there loving it, watching it, because he's petting the dog and stuff while she's running around trying to, scrambling, trying to make lunches for these kids to make sure they don't miss the bus. So, the little things like that was just really, really cute. And it was like what it really happens in a normal house where you have kids that got to catch the bus and you're trying to hurry and get them something to eat, all this kind of stuff. So it was really good. And then he hands her this piece of paper and he said, well, I knew you probably didn't remember, so I made you a list of things, your chores, and she's like, okay. And then he's got like chop wood and all these things, clean the house, do the laundry and all this stuff. So she's trying to do all this shit. And she doesn't even have a regular wash machine. She's got one of them old timey ones that you got to do up and down, and it wishes around, and then you put it in the thing and it cranks out the water. And then she had that old timey ironing machine where you put something in it and it squeezes it in there and heats it up so that like pants and stuff like that. And she gets her shirt stuck in there while she's trying to beat the washing machine because it's rolling towards her and stuff. It was just really cute the whole way they did it. It was like they were able to fix it up to make it look like real country people, living out in the country, and this is how they would live. And but what was funny is, I forgot to say this, when he first brought her home and she's looking at the house, like you could see that she felt like she did not belong there, that she knew that this was not, there's no way that she would ever do anything like this. And he's like, home sweet home. And she's like, he's like, yeah, this is where we live. And the other place was a dump. And she's like, we moved here on purpose. She was like, it was just really funny. I just thought it was really cute the way they did it without being too, I don't know, without being overboard about putting down people that might live that way. You know what I mean? Because I have relatives that live like that. I mean, they've had cars in their yard since I can't even remember them not having cars, and they got grass and trees growing right through them and stuff, because they've been there so long. So I just thought it was funny, and I was laughing at it. I thought it was great. But I've been talking my head off, so maybe you should jump in where we're at and see if there's anything you want to add, because I can't stop talking about it.
This is a fun movie. This is a fine way to spend almost 2 hours. Never heard of it before. Never heard of majority of people that are in the background behind the camera. Didn't ever know they existed. But you said, this movie, we got to watch it. Okay, it's got Kurt Russell, whatever. Holy shit, he slayed every part of he was in. But really, it's not even a Kurt movie.
I just thought it was great. He was a man's man.
Yeah, he is. But this movie is all Goldie Hawn. He reacts to Goldie Hawn and he steers her like, nope, honey, you have to be my wife. Walk down this narrow path and do all the stuff I tell you. You'll be great. And that's all he does throughout the entire film. It's great. It's fun to watch that, because who hasn't ever wanted to do that before and just have your wife go do it? All right. Don't do
but the thing is,
when you're married.
The other thing, though, that was what I thought was really good about their character arcs was the kids and how they reacted to her, because their dad had said, you're going to have a mom. And, and he explained to her that, she owes us money and she'll stay and take care of you. And she's going to do all these things for you. So the older boys understood that, she was temporary, basically. She wasn't going to be there that long. So they started liking it because she's cleaning the house. She's spending time with them. Actually caring about what they're doing, helping them with their homework, helping them, making sure they had clean clothes and that they had something to eat and all that stuff. And then she would put them to bed at night, and they all shared a room. All 4 of them were in one room together, which I thought was really sweet because I had to do that. I had to share with 2 sisters because we only had a 3-bedroom house. So, with 1 bathroom. So it was nice. It was cozy. It was real, maybe it was, I just thought it was really, really good. And then, they started liking her. And then when that one night when, they had went out, I don't want to go too far ahead because that's when they get the poison ivy or the poison oak. But, he's the youngest one that speaks like Pee Wee Herman or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's got poison ivy on him or oak and he's scratching his face. And she's like, no, honey, be careful. Don't get that in your eyes. See? And she's showing him the bottle of the medicine. It says, see right here, do not get in your eyes. Here, read on. And he took the bottle and he threw it. And then when he threw it and he crawled up in the corner, she looked at the other boys and goes, what's up with this? What's the matter with him? But, because she didn't understand what she had done. And they go, well, he can't read. And she goes, well, he's a young boy. And he goes, well, even for a young boy, he can't read. So that's when she realized, I got to start helping him, help him learn how to read. So she would sit with him at night and pull a comic book out and let him read. It was the one about Dr. Death or whatever. That was the character that the dad would play with the boys with their shed out in their little shed, fort. And she was reading that book with him. And then he said something about her, if she's ever going to leave. And she went, no, I'm not going to leave, whatever. So he whips out a little necklace that he'd made out of macaroni. I made one to wear in honor of the little boy making the macaroni necklace. Because every mom has had something like that made for I'm sure you made something like that for your mother when you were in school. So it means a lot to a mom when their kid makes something like this even though it's just macaroni, it means it's worth more than any jewelry you could go buy because it was made for you specifically by someone who loved you, your child, right? And I just thought that was the sweetest thing. And she puts it on. And she said, I'll always wear it and I'll always cherish it, right? And she ends up putting it on at the end of the movie, right? To see him, okay, to get to meet him again when they come to get her back, after she leaves. But I just thought that was just adorable with the little boy doing that whole thing. So just little things like that. So she connects with all the boys, even though she's one that's disciplining them, making them do things, which shows you that kids want a parent. They want one that tells them they love them, but I expect you to do these things. You got to be able to read, you got to be able to do your homework. You have chores you need to do. You're a parent, not their best friend. Right. So I like that. I like that point of view that they put into this movie to show what the kids were lacking and what they were missing out on because their mom died, and now they have a new mom that loves them and she's loves them unconditionally. You know what I mean? She's treating them all the same. She's not being fair to one kid and not another, that type of thing. And then when they got before she finds out they had the poison ivy, the school called because the kids wouldn't take these tests and they were all scratching and they didn't feel good. And so they called and they said that, is anybody at home? And they go, yeah, our mom. And they go, so you got a mom now? So she called them, the mother, and she went to the school. Okay. Now it doesn't tell us how she got to the school unless she took the truck, because I thought Dean drove the truck. I thought they only had one vehicle. So that was kind of funny because later when I was thinking about it, how did she drive there? So she goes to the school, and that's when she gets in an argument with the teacher about being mean and rude to her kids. These are my boys or whatever. And their dad might be a big kid, but he's mine or whatever, that type of thing. She defended them to the teacher and got mad at her because she said they're covered head to toe with poison oak, because they remember the day before when they were cooking and stuff, and she had went to get them pie. The 2 older boys had put super glue, on the bottom of the plates. And when she went to pick them up, they were stuck to her hands. She couldn't get them off. And instead of the dad saying, hey, these are your kids, you shouldn't do that to your mom or whatever, he didn't do anything, didn't discipline him in any way. So she went outside and got the garden hose and brought it in and just started spraying all of them, because she was mad and fed up.
Good.
Do what?
I thought this garden hose moment was fantastic.
I do too, but see that right there showed a huge character arc from where she went as a stuck-up snob to somebody who felt like she could just be just like them and get revenge, but in a fun way, to show them that she cared about them, but that I could take it and you better be able to take it too, because I'm going to dish it out, basically. You know what I mean? So I thought that was great. That showed a huge character arc for her character with the boys, and the boys loved it. You could tell they were jumping on her and playing with her out in the yard, and that's how they all got poison oak. Because remember, Dean wasn't out there with them when she was out in the woods and they're rolling around on the ground. It was just her and the 4 kids. So that's why
Was
Dean
he at work, or was he inside the house fucking with the dogs?
He was in the house with his best friend. Remember, his best friend was there too. Remember, they were watching sports or something on TV, and he's like, we want some pie or chocolate pie. And when she took the pie and was standing there with it right in front of his face, you were thinking she was going to smack him with it or something. You know what I mean? You were anticipating she was going to do something, but she didn't. So, she kept her temper. She was able to control herself until she went and got the garden hose. But they all laughed, and it looked like they were having a good time with it. And then that's when they're sitting at home and they're working on her art project, right? Remember, she's working on drawing out the stuff to do the golf course, the little golf putt-putt golf course. Yeah. And she's doing the pictures, and the kids are helping her. So they're doing a thing together. Okay. And then they said something. One of the boys said something about their dad, and she said, well, he had to go do something. He's at the bowling alley with his friends. And the one son realizes how mean his dad is being, right? By not being there with them and helping with the pictures and being there with their mom. So he just says, it's kind of funny how he's going bowling without his bowling ball, because he knew that that's not his real mom, but it pissed him off. He was mad. So when she saw the bowling ball there, she starts thinking, oh, he's cheating on me. That's the first thing all women think. The guy's lying about where he's going. He's not there. It's late at night. He's going out every night. She's thinking immediately that he's cheating. So she goes and gets in the truck and leaves to go find him. And she's going to all his old hangouts, but he's not there. And she happens to drive by that fertilizer place, and she sees his truck, but she sees him hauling fertilizer and loading it in the truck. So she realizes that he was telling her that he was going to do this because he was embarrassed about his having to have this night job to help make the money, right? So then she respects him and looks up to him more because he's a guy and he's embarrassed. So she's not going to rat him, and she didn't say anything. I saw where you were last night, and rub it in or anything. She didn't say anything until he brought it up later, what she thought he was going to, say what happened. But then he comes home after she saw him working really hard. He comes home and he goes and opens the refrigerator, and that's when he realizes the freezer's not all overgrown with frost. The eggs are all in the egg cartons, and it's all clean. The refrigerator, and he looks around the kitchen, and it's all immaculately cleaned. Even though it's not a fancy house, it's clean. Everything's in its place. The floor is swept. The dishes are all put away. All the dishes are washed. The table's all clean with a little tablecloth and all that, And he starts walking around, and he realizes all the things that she's been doing since he brought her home. She's made his house a home for his boys. And so he starts feeling guilty, okay, I've done this long enough because, wow, this is really nice. How nice it was to have somebody to come home and have something to eat, and the refrigerator's full with beer and whatever it is he wants to eat, and the house is clean, So he's all the things that he's missed, that he's wanted, he's starting to see that he's got, and she's doing it. Okay, even though he lied to her, he set her up, and she's got amnesia. She doesn't know who she is. He's starting to feel like, maybe it's time to stop this thing because, I'm starting to really like it. And it's going to be really hard when you have to tell her the truth. And she leaves because he knows she's going to be pissed. How can you not be pissed to find out you've been lied to and pretending to be your wife? It's bullshit. Even though still he hasn't laid a finger on her. He hasn't done anything over that part of it, besides lying to her about making her be a slave. Because like when he's going out to the car or to his truck, when he's leaving, he says, zippity doo dah, zippity yay, my oh my, I got a beautiful slave, whatever, and he goes, and you're a genius, is what he's telling himself, because he's thinking that he's got it made. He's gonna have someone that's gonna work off the money that she owed him, and he's getting revenge at the same time. So the whole thing was this. I just thought it was a really, really good way of seeing them both realize where they were in their lives and what choices they had made, basically. But the difference was he knew all along what he was doing and she didn't. Okay, because he was taking advantage of her because she fell off a boat and either bonked her head or the cold water or whatever it was caused her to get amnesia. So now you're looking at him as an ass. But as soon as that happens, what happens? The screen cuts and you see her husband partying with the three women on the yacht. Because when she says, I didn't marry too well, she didn't, because she married a scumbag that dumped her and left her there and was partying on the yacht without her. So basically, yeah, she did marry bad. So that's when he decides he's going to tell the truth because he feels like, he's falling in love with this woman. Okay. And he wants to keep her because the kids love her. And that's when he's telling the kids, I'm going to tell her the truth. And like, no, Dad, we want to keep her, and he's like, you can't keep her. She's not ours. And then when he goes out there to tell her when she doesn't believe him, okay, he takes her out to the boys and they say, see, Mom, we're all clean. We didn't get dirty. And then he's like, tell her she's not your mother. And he's like, what are you talking about? They didn't want to do it because they loved her and they wanted to keep her because she was a good mom and she cared about them.
Yeah,
so I just thought
they really identified with the fact that like she was willing to go to bat for them and do things with what she's naturally good at. She was willing to focus that on them, and she was no longer the shrew that he had met originally.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's evolving with her environment, and she was starting to have feelings for these kids because in her mind, they're her kids. She gave birth to them. She's had them since they were babies, all that type of stuff. So, she was just reacting normally as a woman would react as a mother, protective. She was protecting her babies from the mean teacher, all the stuff. So I just thought it was great. It was a very good character arc. She went from a stuck-up, snotty bitch that didn't give a shit about anybody but herself to a woman that could cut wood, cook, clean a house, take care of two big dogs, chop up stuff with a chainsaw, wash the laundry, hang it up to dry, all this stuff, all these things that she's never done in her whole life, but she was doing, and take care of 4 boys that were just rambunctious and tearing the house to shreds. So she really learned a lot. And then when the mother finally said, you better produce my daughter in 1 week or else. And she was on her way there. And he knew he had to go get his wife because his mother-in-law was going to tear him a new one. So when he started looking into where she was and making phone calls, he was able to find out that she was picked up by this guy and taken to his house. So he drives his driver drives him right to their house to get her. And then she's coming back after they were able to have their first day at their mini golf place that she helped with the idea of the 7 wonders of the world mini golf place. And she was real excited. They cooked for everyone and all that stuff. So she enjoyed herself. She had a really good time. And then she walks by with the flowers that the one son had given her. And she said, hi, Grant, I'll be right back. I'm going to put these flowers in water. And then she walked right past him. So she remembered who he was. And then when she goes in the house and she comes back out and she goes, I remember everything. And she was so happy because she got her memory back. And that's when she realized, and Dean just stood there staring at her because he realized it was over. This is it. And so did the kids. And it was real sad. They're all staying in the truck and they're just looking at her because they know that she's about to leave and they're never going to see her again. So basically, Dean, as the father, set his kids up for another failure. They lost their mom, and now they're losing their mom all over again.
Yeah, I felt sorry.
I almost cried again. I'd seen the movie like 20 times, and I almost started crying again. My tears welled up. I got a lump in my throat because the part where the little boy goes, "Moms, don't leave," like that. It just ripped my heart out. I was almost going to cry again because it was so hard when they're chasing after it was so cute though when he goes, "Don't cause any problems," because I brought Olaf, and he goes, "Olaf," and this big giant dude gets out of the limo, right? And then the three older boys look at each other. We could take Olaf. It was just adorable. It broke my heart. Because they were so cute, all of them. They just would, all they wanted was their mom. That's it. That's all they cared about. And they were mad at their dad because of it.
Do you remember the movie called Death Becomes Her?
Yes. It was her, and I'm trying to remember the other actress that was in there. Because that was with Bruce Willis, right?
I think so.
And he was like a mortician. And he's able to keep them looking good with fake, plastic and whatever else because they're dead. Basically.
I mean, you're a special effects artist.
Yeah, it was a good movie. But so when she gets back in the car and she leaves, she's heartbroken because she still had the necklace on when she's driving in the vehicle and stuff. So when she changes into her regular clothes and they're sitting there and her mother had called in their psychotherapist to make sure she was okay because she didn't know what had happened to her. None of them did. It would be like any of us where you find out your daughter fell overboard. Okay. And then some guy told the cops that it was his wife. Okay. We would all be pissed at him for what he did to our daughter. We don't know what he was doing to her. She was, she didn't know who she was. We don't know if he's manhandling her or whatever. So I could see why the mother would want to, help her. But she's sitting there, and then she gets up and goes and gets the tray of food and brings it. Would you like something to eat? And the mother goes, "What are you doing?" Because she was being a servant. And he goes, "What made you want to get up and get the tray of food and bring it to us?" And she said, "Because I thought you were hungry." And then when he brings the champagne out, the butler, and she's like, "I would really like just to have a beer." And they're like, "A beer?" They're just like, they're thinking she's a regular hillbilly harlot is what her husband was calling her and stuff. I just thought it was really good. I just thought the whole character arc for her was just awesome. And for Dean, because he realized what a dum-dum he was.
Well, I like this movie a lot. And like I said, it's my favorite rom-com I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Very, very few of those I'll actually watch from start to finish and want to watch twice.
Yeah.
This movie makes me want to watch it a lot, like what you've watched it. But to me, this movie is a unlisted sequel to Private Benjamin. Because Private Benjamin's from the posh world. She's completely bamboozled by the recruiter. "Oh, no, not that army. We have the condos and the whirlpools. We're the good army." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go do it." And I could see that character completely being manipulated into a life. In this movie, she's in the Navy, according to Kurt Russell. That's bullshit. You know how it is. But I think this movie could be a good sequel to Private Benjamin. It's not, but she plays the character fairly close to the initially what Private Benjamin is. And it's just a fun little exercise I found myself doing afterwards of, well, how did Private Benjamin do after she was discharged? She went back to Massachusetts and lived on the the Hamptons, or whatever.
Yeah,
I
because
can
she was
see that.
rich.
I can see that because that's exactly what the fuck she did. And it's just a very fun, very enjoyable film. We love this movie. Nobody loved this movie when it came out. This movie got
Yeah,
slammed.
it didn't do very well. I don't know why, because I thought it was really good. It's just that to me, I don't think it was promoted enough because I didn't even remember anything about it. You know what I mean? Until I watched it.
Everything about this movie when it came out, they always mention Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell. They're fantastic together, but their scenes are scripted poorly.
Mhm.
And Rita Kempley of the Washington Post said, "A deeply banal farce with one-dimensional characters, a good long look at her buttocks, and lots of pathetic sex jokes." I bet you Rita Kempley's got some blue hair. Right?
Oh, I didn't get that at all from it.
No, read it. No, I'm just reading you the critical response that I'm seeing here, and a lot of the movie's critical bullshit. The critics, they gave it 46% based on 35 reviews, with an average rating of 5.2 out of 10. However, whenever you have the audience get their licks in, audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A- on an A+ to F scale. And so the people that are, your regular blue collar movie watching, popcorn eating people love this movie. So I feel like I'm in really good company. And it made total 26 million by the end of its run, and it had a budget of 22 million. So we all know that it didn't make a whole lot of cash. We get that. It lost money until it hit box office at home rentals. Once home rentals started up, then the money started to really come in. And like in Canada, let me see here. In Canada, it was among the top 10 video rentals in the country in July of 1988. And then MGM Home Entertainment released a DVD edition of the film in 1999. A Blu-ray was released by MGM in 2009. And in 2021, Severin Films reissued the film on DVD and Blu-ray for a new 2K master. If only we would have watched the stream where that had happened. Anyway, this movie's gone on to be a cult classic, and it is truly a cult classic because
anyone that likes Goldie Hawn or anyone that likes Kurt Russell would like this movie. And both of them were huge star power themselves, but to have them in a movie together, to get to see as a family, basically, and get to see them play off each other, the chemistry they had between each other, it's like a cherry on top for people that like those two actors, right? And I just thought it was a very heartwarming movie to give you a different perspective of what it could be like if you ever had the chance to live a totally different life. You know what I mean? Just like that one line that Roddy McDowell says, that you got a very small sample of what most people never get in their lifetime, to get to actually live in a whole nother life as a different person, basically, to step out of your role and step into another one for a short period of time, even though it was very brief, to get to see life from a totally different point of view. Okay. And I thought that was a great line. And I can see why Roddy McDowell wanted to be in the movie as the butler. And he was an executive producer for this movie, because I think all of them that read this script really enjoyed the story that it was telling, and the view that everyone would get to see of the what we should see in each side of our relationship. If we would just pay a little more attention to what the other person is actually doing for you in your relationship, you see things better. You see things more clearly. You see that this person is sacrificing for me. Because when you come home from work and your house is clean, your dishes are washed, you have food in the oven, your laundry's done, your clothes are folded, they're put in their drawer, they're hanging in the closet. All you got to do is open the drawer, and guess what? You got clean underwear and socks. Well, how did they get there? Because somebody else did that for you. But that's something that people don't see every day. So when you come home and you're like, she's sitting there watching TV, or she's doing a game, or she's doing whatever, but you say, you don't go up to her and say, what'd you do all day? Because there's food in the refrigerator. Okay. The house is picked up. The trash has been taken out, or whatever the chores were that you didn't have to do because you were at work all day. This person did it because that they were being a good partner. They were trying to make sure stuff that they could do while they were home was done. If they had a full-time job and they're still doing stuff at the home, they're trying to show you, this is how I love you. I care about you enough to do these things so you don't have to do it. See? So if we would just pay attention to see what the other person does for us, we wouldn't have resentment build up against them. And your relationship would be better, because if you each doing those things for each other, the unknown things, because you walk in, you don't see it, you know what I mean? Because it's already done. It's already cleaned up. It's already put away, whatever it is, sweeping, vacuuming, dusting. It's the jobs that somebody's doing, but nobody sees you do it because nobody's there when you do it. But you should be thankful that the other person did these things. And if more people would do that, how many more relationships would you have that last? Because you actually respect each other and realize what the other person's doing. You know what I mean? Pay attention to the things, like saying, thank you, man. It's so nice to see that I can come home and just sit down and put my feet up because you've done all this stuff to keep the house looking nice. Little things. How many husbands do that for their wives? Very few. Or their mom, or their grandmother, or their aunt, whoever it is they're living with, to show the other one, thank you so much. I really appreciate having a nice place to sit down at the table and be able to eat my dinner, or I'm sitting at the bar stool thing, or wherever, whatever it is, the little things that the other people do for you, to be appreciative. That's what I liked about this movie. It points that out. When he opens the refrigerator and he looks around the kitchen, he's like, wow, this is so nice. I have a home. It's a home. It's clean. It's a wonderful environment. It makes me feel welcome here. You see? Mm-hmm. So he got to see that, and he realized she did it. Just like she saw him working hard at a job that he was embarrassed to tell her about. At least that's what she felt, right? But he didn't tell the boys that's what he's doing at night while they're sleeping, that he is out there trying to make extra money so that he could pay their bills and buy food and, do those things. He just did it because that's what dads do. That's what husbands do, right? Responsible dads, responsible husbands. So I just love that whole circle between you see them recognizing that on each side of what the other one is doing for the other, for the family. I just love that because you don't see that very often. You know what I mean? That's not spotlighted in relationships. It's the little things that you do that makes you feel special. Just like I said, when he gave her that ring and they were driving in the truck and she's looking at that little tiny ring diamond that he gave her because she said, I lost my wedding ring in the sink. Okay. Which was a real expensive one because that's what she was wearing when she fell overboard. Right. And he gets her one because he can't afford no giant rock that this other guy would bought her, right? So it's a dainty little silver band with a diamond on it, a little one. And she just looking at it like it was the most beautiful ring she'd ever had in her life. See, it doesn't matter what the ring size is. It's the fact that the person that gave it to you, the feelings behind the gift. That is just like this macaroni necklace. It's not that this was made out of macaroni. If I get it wet, it's going to fall apart and it's going to rot or whatever. It's the fact that someone that loved me made this for me. You see that it's what's behind the gift that makes it so special. And that's what I love about this movie. It exudes that for each other. The whole family doing things for each other because they love each other and they care about each other and they want to do it for someone they love. And they want them to know, I love you and I'm not rich, but I made you this. You know, I just love that. I just love that whole concept of everything they did in this movie to portray that about what it means to be a family and to show affection for each other. I just thought that was great. To me, that's what made this movie just phenomenal. But the fact that when he came home and she was on the couch and, after he'd seen what she did for his kids at school, right? And then he's like, I want to talk to you. And she's like, no. And he's like, why? And she goes, because I'm ugly. And he goes, what do you mean? Because that's when she had the calamine lotion on her face.
Yep.
And he goes, well, normally you do look very pretty. You just don't now. Whatever, the way he did the best he could to try to make her feel better. He made an effort, right?
You'll get better.
And then he picked her up and she goes, no, not the barrel, because he thought he was going to throw her in the water barrel. And she said no. And he took her and he put her on the bed. And he's like, no boom boom. She was like, no. And he was, all right, no boom boom. So he left her in there. He was teasing her still. But the fact that he saw and he was trying to go the extra mile for her, that to me was a growing arc for him. Another a little bit higher on the arc that he was starting to make because he was changing and evolving in his character. And I thought that was really good. So the way they did all that. But then when he tells her, oh, I forgot, when he was trying to tell her who she really was. And he goes, I forgot your birthday. And she's like, it's my birthday. And he was like, get dressed. We're going out. So he takes her out to the little tiny bar and she's dancing and having a great old time. And it's just a little shack. And that's the scene that I was telling you that there's a band in there singing, hey, Jim Dandy. Hey, Jim Dandy. They're dancing around. The guy playing the drums in the band is the director. So he's got a cameo in his own movie, which I thought was great, and he's good at the drums because you see him flip the drumstick and everything, and he's playing it. So he did a good job. But they go outside and he's talking about Arturo and what was the girl's name? Oh. Katerina. That whole little story about the boop, 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 with the ship coming into the harbor and all that. I just thought that was so romantic, and she just loved it. I mean, he swept her off her feet, and then they had their first kiss. So that's when he realizes that they're falling in love with each other, and everybody that's watching realizes it. So, and you're rooting it on, even though she's a married woman, she has amnesia, and he knows that she's gonna take him out when she finds out that he lied to her about all of it. So he's digging this hole that's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So when she leaves and goes back to her ship, when she gets her memory back, they're all heartbroken. And then he's trying to find his boys, and he goes out to their little shack that they got. And he goes, boys, what are you doing? And he goes, we're trying to figure out how we're going to get mom back. And he goes, she's gone. She's got her fancy yacht and her rich husband and stuff. She's never going to come back here. And they're like, we saved up $3 and whatever amount of cents. We're going to rent a boat and we're going to go get her because they want her, they want her to come home because they want her to be their mom. So the whole thing is just really adorable. The kids are just so cute. And then, so he goes out and he beats on the door and he goes, come on, we're going to get her. It's Dr. Death or whatever. So they all get in the truck and stuff. And his friend got a friend that's in the Coast Guard. So they got a boat. And they're going after him. But by this time, she's already made them turn the ship around because she decided, I want to go back. And then her husband is like, what? You'd rather live in squalor with that guy or whatever? And she's like, she puts her macaroni necklace back on with her beautiful dress and stuff. I just thought it was so sweet. And you could see Roddy McDowall's character. He's so happy for her because she's a totally different person now. She's talking to people on the ship with respect. She's doing shots with the people in the kitchen, and she's showing them how to lick the salt and suck the lime, and all that stuff. I just thought it was adorable. It just showed a whole transformation of what she went through, getting to live as another person for a very short, 2 months time that she had amnesia. I just thought it was great. It's so inspiring to me. And I think it's a great movie for couples, even with small children, to watch, because
I agree with that.
it shows you that there's nothing wrong with not having a rich, fancy house. It isn't where you live, it's how you live. It's how you live your life, and who you choose to live it with doesn't matter. It's how you treat each other, and you watch each other, and you respect each other, and make sure that when you see all the things that the other person does for you, to tell them, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you've done. I love having my fried chicken, or, my chocolate cream pie, whatever it is.
I love my cheesy poofs.
I just loved it. I just was so, I don't know. I slept good last night after getting to watch it. It was just a good, heartwarming thing, because it gives you back, because everybody gets frustrated, and you fight, and you argue about petty, squabbly, stupid shit. But when you start thinking, step back and look at your relationship, and you actually look at what the other person has done for you over the time that you've had your relationship. How many times they took care of you when you were sick, how many times they cleaned up after you, how many times they put a new roll of toilet paper up, all the little stupid shit. How many times have they bought new toothpaste for you? All these things. It just shows that they care, because they don't have to do any of that stuff. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to lift one finger for you, but they do, because they do give a shit. They care.
And before we go further, I'd like anybody that's seen this movie, go ahead, put your scores in the chat. I want to hear what you have to say. To start things off, Flatey, hey man, have a great night. I know you took off already, but Flatey gave this movie like a 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty rich for a film like this. Here we go. Hopping out for a bit. This is classic storytelling with full story arcs and good morals and lessons. 9 out of 10 for me. Childhood family classic for me.
Yes, definitely. That's exactly how I feel. I couldn't find anything wrong with the story. So the script was great. I thought the director was phenomenal, even putting himself in his own movie, which was great. I thought the character arcs were great, even for the kids, for the major characters, even the best friend, defending his best friend by telling her that the underwear that she found in the glove box was his. So he fell on the sword for his best friend, which proved that he loved his friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was a good person. So to me, it had great family values, like you said. But the only thing that I could find wrong was there was a couple of continuity problems. That was it. That's like I said, when you're making a commercial or you're doing something, you have your purse on your right shoulder and you're walking through the grocery store, and then they say, oh, cut, so sneezed, or somebody slipped and fell, we have to redo the scene. So you go back and you put your purse on your right shoulder this time, or your left shoulder, and you do the same thing, and then they say cut, okay, keep it. But then when the editing comes, they edit it together for the length they need, and all of a sudden you're walking along, and at the end, you're at the beginning of the walk, your purse is on this shoulder, and then at the end of the walk, your purse is on the other shoulder. So you got little continuity problems. That's not editing. That's because the person that was watching to make sure that everybody does the same thing exactly the same way didn't do their job. Like a couple scenes in there, in the room when the mom went to pick up the kids, there was a teddy bear on the teacher's desk when she first walked in, and then when she's over there talking to the boys, the teddy bear is sitting on the table. and then it's back on the teacher's desk. So little things like that with continuity. So there was just a few things like that, which has nothing to do with the director, has nothing to do with the actors. It's all the prop person, the prop people. So things like that, just little things. That's the only thing I could find wrong with this movie.
Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective says it was a fun movie for sure, but I would only give it an 8 out of 10.
That's okay.
Everybody says only an 8 out of 10, but if you go to IMDb, the average is a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy rates it high.
Well, I'm giving it a 9. I thought it was a really, really, the story was good. It was uplifting and spiritual for me, inspirational. Just, it makes you realize that there's potential good relationships out there. As long as you're honest and you look at what the other person does for you and you make sure you thank them for it. You tell them, I appreciate you. Don't let somebody go unnoticed, because that's what ruins relationships is lack of communication. I say that all the time. I know people get sick of me, but that's part of the problem is that if you don't talk to each other and share that you're pissed or that you're happy or that you don't feel good or whatever it is, why together, if you're not going to be there for each other, hold hands, sit with each other, rub each other's feet, take a bath together, whatever it is that you enjoy, go eat together, sit down, have conversation, put your phone down for 10 minutes and just look at each other eye to eye and say, I had a shitty day today. This happened or that. And the other one can say, I'm sorry you had a bad day, but my day was pretty good. And you actually share, your feelings, you talk about things. That's a relationship. Okay. And that's what I loved about this, because it to me, it came across that these people really fell in love and wanted to spend the rest of their lives together. And at the end, when they're on the boat at the very end, and she tells them, well, you're willing to give up everything for me. I have nothing. I can't give you. And she goes, it's all mine. The boat, the money, everything. And he's like, what? So he hit the jackpot, basically. He got a hot, good-looking blonde babe that wants to be the mother of his 4 brats. And she's rich out the wazoo. And so the boys are sitting there writing out their Christmas lists because they realize she's got all this money. And then he's like, you're giving me all this. What could I possibly ever give you that that you don't already have? And she said, a little girl. I just thought that was adorable.
That's so cute.
It is. It was just great. It was so simple. You know what I mean? It really was simple. It wasn't elaborate or anything. It was very simple. The whole script was simple, but it was all done basically on emotions. And you laughed a little bit, and it was just. I just thought it was great. I thought it was very.
Didn't stop laughing. I
thought it was great.
I kept laughing about the stupid stuff. And the fact that the guy's dogs were supremely important. Which, if you have a dead wife, the dogs still love you and the dogs still care. They'll take care of you. And so you have that, and that was nice. I could see that, but at the same time, this movie, it would trigger a modern audience goer right now. I want to mention here, Six Nation says, trying not to show my Kurt Russell man crush and my love for Holly Weird's most normalish couple. I give this movie a solid 85 out of 100. I agree.
That's
hit
good. Good score.
Had a good story, classic one-liners, and the chemistry was fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, share memes and bully douche nozzles online. Absolutely.
But the chemical attraction, even between Goldie Hawn and the boys and Kurt Russell and the boys, you know what I mean? It was almost like they spent a lot of time together, that they had respect for each other. You know what I mean? The way the boys played together, the way they talked to each other, just everything about the family oriented areas in this movie to me. See, that's what I'm saying. There was so much in this, packed into this movie, that you'd have to watch it 5 or 6. Like I said, I've seen it like 20 times. So I've seen it a lot. And I still got emotional when the little boy's yelling, but you said moms don't leave. I say I'm getting choked up thinking about it right now, because she was betrayed and she was heartbroken. So she didn't have any choice. That was all on him. That was all on Dean, because Dean's the one that set up the kids and her to be in that situation. So, but as a child, all he knows is that she's leaving. He's already lost a mom, and that, so that makes you even more emotional about it. But to me, that's one reason why I loved it. I just, as a mom myself and as a woman, I just thought it was very romantic. The whole fairy tale of meeting a Prince Charming type of guy that is willing to take you in and put you right in with his kids and all that stuff. And I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be a slave or anything like that, but I just thought it was just very sweet and romantic the way he, tiptoed around everything to try to, like when he picked her up and took her and put her in the bed, and was nice to her and stuff. And he was telling her that she was pretty, even though she wasn't pretty right this minute because she had that stuff on her face. Just little things like that I thought was very romantic. And the fact that she was looking at her ring, with the little boy laying on her, it was just, I just thought it was just wonderful for as a mom and a woman.
Okay.
So it's very romantic. So.
I think this movie hits a lot of notes, and there's that definite romantic edge that you keep going back to, which is fine. It's not an everyman's movie every day, but it's definitely got its charm.
But it was great because the men were macho. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it didn't make him less of a man. You know what I mean? He never had to be a puss. You know what I mean? He was a man through the whole movie, even though he was delicate and soft at times with her. He was still manly. See, You can make a romantic comedy and not make the man a puss. The whole time, both the guys were real guys. Even the oldest brother got a girlfriend, and stuff like that. So it was just a
Don't get her pregnant,
macho movie, but it was romantic. Okay. And that's what I was saying. Remember, I've talked many times. I said, I hate those movies like that. The something traveling pants or whatever. Some of those other ones are just pussified movies. I hate that. I'm not even going to go see the Barbie movie because I'm sorry. Just the trailer made me think pussies. I don't want to see it. To me, I'm not interested. I like real men. I want a man that can be a man, but treat a woman like a lady. You know what I mean? To be romantic, but be a man. And I don't know. I can't explain it. And to me, Kurt Russell and his best friend in this movie were real men, and they treated women like women in a respectful way. And I like that. Even Roddy McDowell, even though he was a butler and he had the British accent, so you expected him to act a little differently when it came to being a macho man, because plus he's a butler, he was respectful too when he talked to Goldie Hawn. Even though she treated him like dirt at the beginning, he accepted her when she came back, and he was happy, and you could see the expression on his face when she talked to him like, I'm so sorry for treating you so badly, when he realized that she actually realizes that she was a bitch and that she's trying to apologize, and he accepted it. See, that was manly too. He accepted her apology as a man in a manly way, and he was respectful to her for it. So to me, all of them were very manly and macho in their own way, in their own respectful way as being a man. So, I just liked it, and I didn't think that they had to wussify the men at all to make it romantic. That's why I thought you would enjoy it, because I know that you like macho and you like toxic masculinity, which is, so do I, and it doesn't mean that you can't be romantic and be a man. And this movie proved it, even with Kurt Russell in it. Huh?
This movie straddles it well. 8 out of 10. It was funny and memorable, says Grumpy Old Ninja Kintaro. I agree
Yes.
with Lady One.
Mm-hmm.
Then Six Nations brings up a little bit of trivia. Jared Rushton, who was also in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, is now a musician in a rock band. He played Charlie Prophet, the other twin.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I think he was the one that went off in the woods with the young girl.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
So, my recommendation for this movie, I give this a 90 out of 100. And
That's what I get too.
This film, it does so many things right. Roddy McDowall believed in it so much. Somehow he got an executive producer position. Maybe he's Gary Marshall's best friend. I don't know. Gary, let me executive produce it. I have no idea. Gary. But it turns out really well because Roddy knows how to be in front and behind the camera. Except for now he's dead. But he's really good at it while he was alive. And he's so good as a butler in this movie. But later on, when she has her change of heart, you get to see the ship's crew with a better light. And Six Nations says that Roddy McDowall is such a good actor. He played so many different roles. He also nearly single-handedly saved cinema through his own preservation efforts. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yep.
I've not watched this movie in a long time. I remember liking it when I watched it on TV. Dude, it's great. Janet.
But I found a piece of trivia that I wanted to read to everyone. Remember the girl, the actress that played Tofuti?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Her name was Rachel Hunter, right?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that Scott Edwards' flame?
Do what?
Scott Edwards? John Edwards.
Yeah. It says...
he was the one that John Edwards was boffing behind his dying breast.
Later, admitted having an affair with North Carolina Senator John Edwards, and Edwards would later admit fathering a child with her, a move that derailed his political career and his marriage. So she became famous not just because she was Tofuti in this movie, but she was also the mistress with Senator John Edwards. Because remember, that was a huge scandal during that time. You know, it always is, I guess, when it's voting time or something like that. But I thought that was interesting when I dug that out. So.
And I have a response for this.
Mm-hmm.
You serious?
That's exactly how I feel when because John Edwards came out in 2004. For you that don't have a sense of time, he came out on the national stage, and every stupid twat in mainstream media is like, "Oh my God, he's so stunning. He's cute. He's going to be the next big thing." And you got like all the people in media are doing their best Judy Tenuta impersonation. Might as well get out the harpsichord, and they're doing all this stupid laughs, and the girls are trying to get all juicy with him. And he's got his wife, and he's half the time got his wife next to him. I'm here, and we're doing it for the party. We're gonna become the vice presidential family, and my wife, she's dying of breast cancer. And he couldn't wait for the cameras to quit rolling so he could kick that bitch back in the Suburban and then run off behind an alleyway and then soar off to find some young lady who had starred in adult movies.
But we have a governor right now that does that shit, and nobody gives a shit. Gavin Newsom.
I know.
And everybody's thinking he's going to run for president. He's going to take... I think he's the one choice because of the whole thing when they brought the Chinese president or whatever to California, and he's had a couple trips to the White House. I don't know. I'm really thinking they're prepping him up to step in when they kick Biden to the curb because he's a corpse. Basically,
the actors are on their marks right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're on their marks right now, and you got Gavin Newsom in the inside lane, but on the outside lane, you got Mike Obama ready to come and save the Democrat Party and ruin America once and for all, because that's what the fuck she does.
I don't know. I just don't think that, why? They've already done it. You know, they already have all that prestige. They don't need a more headache. Had to put up with all that bullshit. I just don't see them doing it. Plus, when they're not in the White House, they can make more money.
I know.
I just don't think that's going to happen. But we're going to find out very soon because it's only in a few months.
Yes, it is. And yeah, this is what I want. Give me. Oh, come on. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, yeah, Tafudi, the soy-based alternative ice cream, was created by David Mintz. He passed in 2021, died suddenly, maybe, I don't know. Tafudi, where are you when I need you? I'm not kidding. We're gonna need to bring out. We have to have the script holder help us. Remember Fang Fang, guys? Okay, I know we're going into politics. I shouldn't go into politics. Janet, next week we watch a movie that has a lot of heart for me, and it solidified Brendan Fraser as the early Gen X romantic lead and as a good lead in general. In 1995, he stars in this movie with Alicia Silverstone called Blast from the Past. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Nope, I haven't seen it.
All right. Well, you're going to get dipped into a wacky world with Sissy Spacek and Christopher Walken.
Well, what's it about? I mean, what's the movie about?
Okay, well, it's a little fun movie. Brendan Fraser has mom and dad. They hate communists. They hate communists so much they build a bunker under their house. And then one night, a United States fighter pilot loses control of his airplane and he crashes. Well, Chris Walken sees his plane headed towards the house and he grabs everybody to the bunker and he thinks it's going off. He thinks it's World War III. And they get deep in the bunker and they don't come out for years. Finally,
But what makes them want to come out?
I believe they ran out of medicine. Basically, a fallout story. It's not Fallout, but it's a fallout story. Well,
So it's a comedy?
It's a comedy.
Oh,
Brendan Fraser is sent out, and Chris Walken realizes that when he opens the vault door, like the world didn't have World War III. It's just, nuttier than what it was before. He tells his son, listen, I need you to go get some food and medicine for your ma. But do me a favor, don't go near any adult bookstores. They've got poison gas. And so he sends his son out to do that. And in the meantime, his son goes out and he's like, well, the world's really nice. And then he meets Alicia Silverstone. And she can't believe her luck because this guy just crawled out of a fucking nuclear bunker thinking that was like, all the mutants are around and all that. His dad raised him on, a steady diet of Frank Sinatra songs, and you're listening to Dean Martin. And then, we got to teach you about how America beat the communists. And then we had to get in the bunker. And we have no idea what it's like now. But go out there, go get some medicine. And he bumps into this pretty girl. And it's a little rom-com. I think you'll like it. But it's great because Chris Walken basically plays every dad in the 1950s. Son, we have to have a nuclear bunker in our backyard because we don't know if the Iron Curtain's going to try to fall on us. Oh, it's great. Cold War is amazing. And it does a good 90s comedy film. And, yeah, McCarthy wasn't wrong.
It sounds very interesting.
It's a great
and it's funny because we went so long without any kind of romantic comedies at all. And now we got two in a row. I think that's really interesting. Is it because it's February? Is
partially, yes.
Okay. I just realized it's February. No wonder we're doing it.
It's February, which is the month of romance. I would much rather do blaxploitation, but I have a problem. I'm white. I love blaxploitation films. They're like one of my favorite genres because you get action and a little bit of romance and really bad acting, and it's a good mix. Fred Williamson might not be with us next year. He's in his 80s, and I want to do a Fred Williamson movie before the end of the year. You guys know which one. And I think it'd be fantastic to do that, but being white
I can't really do blaxploitation.
Mhm.
So okay, fine, we'll do romance for fucking February, no matter
It
what.
might be illegal. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a visit in the future. I can see it. Mr. Lombardo, did you use your streaming software to make money on YouTube with super chats and memberships? Did you do this
Under false pretenses.
under false pretenses? Did you try to impersonate a black man? I can see this now. I can see it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Here comes the IRS. Hold on, we want to talk to him too. God.
You
Anyway,
owe them reparations.
fuck. You got to donate all your super chats to the United Negro College Fund, which I
Yep.
actually would, because that's not a bad college fund. I mean, some kid's gonna get it. I mean, it's obviously a racist college fund, but whatever. But I love the idea of us doing blaxploitation movies. But the melanin count's not there. Fine. They were fun to watch in the early '80s. They always guaranteed a good fight, shootout, chase, and you see a car blow up at the end. It's awesome. It's like a canon movie. But we'll watch Blast from the Past because that's a fantastic movie. It's almost Valentine's Day. Almost. And I think you guys will enjoy it. Janet, did you enjoy this movie?
Yes, a lot. That's why I recommended it.
Would you think that this film could be made in 2024?
I don't know. I really don't. It depends on, just like I always say, who makes it. If it was an independent movie, it probably could be. But if it was made by like Disney, no.
If Whoopi Goldberg or Gorlock the Destroyer was the lead character, which I don't know if you know who Gorlock the Destroyer is.
Mm-mm.
Well, I'll have to pull that up, I guess. Hold on. If Gorlock the Destroyer, Whoopi Goldberg, or some other stunning and brave woman ever decides to do a film where they're the romantic lead, basically, we're going to have a situation where we're forced with Overboard, but Gorlock will be going for grape because that's all Gorlock can do. And I'll show you Gorlock in just a second. Yes, give me this. Thank you, YouTube.
Hi, I'm Kiko. I'm 23. I go to UCSB and I also bartend.
Gorlock. So anyway,
was that a real woman?
That's not a real woman. That's a thing with a fucking addictomy or adivagtomy. Excuse me.
Because I was trying to see where the boobs began, whatever.
It's just one constant curve. It's a constant curve. It's like if she's looking for another brand muffin her size to mate with. But anyway, that thing scares the shit out of me, and it thinks it's an influencer. So if you want to call me, I'm cyberbullying. I'll admit it. I think we need to go back to bullying so we can get that thing under wraps. Can we send it to like some place in the sandbox? They give it a burqa and let it walk the rest of its day. Anyway, Blast from the Past is next week. That movie, I can't wait for. It's a fantastic little film. It's going to be a movie where Janet pretty much howls through the last act, I think. And I think you guys will enjoy it too. This movie wouldn't be able to be made today because there's just too many good moments where a man has a good time.
And you can they can come watch it with us if they would like.
Yeah, they could actually. Let me get the Discord link here.
Yeah, anyone that was interested in watching this movie, The Blast from the Past, can come join us in Bruce's Discord on Sunday at 7 p.m.
7 o'clock
Central Time.
7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be watching this movie like we do all the films on Sunday nights. Coming in there about 7 o'clock. We should be watching it. Last Sunday, we watched a movie, or we watched the Unsubscribed podcast, which is 4 assholes get together, and it was a lot of fun. But they just did.
Yeah, it was funny. I laughed a lot. They were
about
funny.
7:15 is when we started, but just come in about 7 o'clock. We'll have that. Put this Discord in your Discord, and if things change, I will let you guys know. Janet, do you want to walk us out for the evening?
I guess. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It was fun. It was a good movie. I was really happy to get Bruce to watch it because I knew he would like it because it had Kurt Russell in it. That's the one reason. And plus, I think he likes Goldie Hawn because he talks about her a lot, Private Benjamin. So I'm sure we'll be watching that sometime in the future. But
cool.
Don't forget to join me on Friday night for the Friday Night Shit Show. Me and Bruce and the rest of the panel will be there. And I'm supposed to be on Tommy's show, Tommy in the Guinea Pig Collective. So I'm going to be on his channel. Is it tomorrow night, I think? Tomorrow night? Tomorrow's Tuesday, is the 6th, right? Yeah, the 6th. Tomorrow night I'm going to be on Tommy's channel. So it's going to be fun. And just, I guess he's going to interview me or whatever, talk about my channel and stuff. So that'll be fun. So
there's that. Put that in your browsers, kids. It's in your comment section. Come see Janet on Tommy's channel. Friday night, she has
Tommy's in the chat. I saw him in there. So yeah, there he is. So that'll be fun.
Thank you so much.
I haven't been on it. I haven't been interviewed in a while, so it'll be fun.
Everybody be well. See you soon.